All right, here's your homework for simplifying rationals, multiplying, and dividing. So let's do it together. So we have two monomials. First, we're going to look at what number goes into both evenly. So the biggest number that goes into 16 and 24 is 8. So 16 divided by 8 and 24 divided by 8. Then look at the exponents. Do the exponent rule. Subtract. But ultimately, we have 5 more m's in the denominator, and now it's done. Number 2, factor first. So the top one we're going to factor out an n. The bottom one we're going to factor out a 4n and divide. Notice what's remaining. So an n plus 7 divides out, n divides out. So remember what we're left with, and it's 1/4. Number 3, to simplify, we factor first. So what two numbers multiply to negative 24 and subtract to 10? So be careful. It's 12 and 2. The denominator is x plus 2. Then the common factors, and you're left with the answer x subtract 12. Number 4, the top is a difference of squares, square root. And you get 1 plus 3w, 1 subtract 3w. The denominator, factor out a 4, and you have 3w subtract 1. Notice these are opposite factors. So you're left with negative 1. So you have negative 1, 1 plus 3w over 4. Number 5, factor. Factor out a common factor, 4a. Divide, that's a subtract 9. The denominator, first factor out a 2, and an a, and a square. Divide, and you get a squared minus 12a plus 27. So we still have a 2a squared here. The two numbers that multiply to 27 and add to negative 12 are negative 3 and negative 9. So divide out the common factors. 4 and 2, so 2 makes the 4 at 2. The a squares, a makes a squared just an a when you divide it out. So our final answer of what remains on top is a 2. Is the only thing not crossed out, and then a and a minus 3. Number 6, factor. Now for this one, we're going to have to go, what am I going to do here? So 5 times 24 is 120. And then negative 26. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 120. And then subtract to 26. Oh, it's a negative 120. So subtract there. So the two numbers that subtract are, let's look here. Oh, negative 30 and 4. Just thinking through it. So when I come back here, I have 5y squared plus 4y. Take away 30y. Subtract 24. Factor out a y squared, and you have 5y plus 4. Or a y, not a y squared. Factor out a negative 6, and you have y plus 4, or 5y plus 4. So altogether, you have y plus 6, y take away 6. And then we have in the denominator 5y plus 4, and y take away 6. So the y take away 6 divides out, and you're left with your answer, y plus 6 and 5y plus 4. Number 7, can you divide? Or multiply, then we'll divide. There it is. Maybe was it off the screen a bit? All right, number 7. Multiply. So first we're going to simplify and then we'll multiply. So 8 goes into 32 4 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. When I multiply, 4 times 3, 12 is left on top. Then, if I look at the x's, I have x cubed, I have x and x squared. They're done. 3 take away 3, all the x's are removed. Next I look at y and y, 2 of them. That crosses out with the y squared on the bottom, so all I'm left with is y to the 4th on the bottom. And that's it. Here we're going to factor. So negative 4 and negative 2. Factor out of 2, m subtract 1. Then we're going to match. So a factor that gets eliminated. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. So you're left with 5 m minus 2 over m minus 1. Number 9. Factor. So what number goes into both evenly? 4. And it's 7n plus 10. The denominator, 5. 7n plus 10. The next one, 12. N plus 2. 8. N plus 2. So they're going to eliminate. And then I'm left with 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 goes into 12, 6. So I'm left with a 6 over 5. Number 10. Factor. So p subtract two numbers are negative 9 and positive 4. Factor out of 4p, and you have 4p plus 4. So p plus 4 eliminates. P subtract 9 and 9 subtract p, those are opposite factors, so it's negative 1. And that's it. So we have a negative 1 and p plus 10, and then we have 4p in the denominator. Turn the page. Again, factor, difference of squares, factor, take factor out of 4v, down denominator, the two numbers that multiply to negative 42 and add to 1 are positive 7 and negative 6. So the common factors, find them, they're eliminated, so all that's left is v subtract 7 over 20v cubed. Number 12. Oh, what did I do? The 4 and the 20, right? Makes that 5. Huh. So this should be a 5. V cubed. Number 12. Factor. So 2n take away 3 prime, n plus 1 prime. The denominator is a difference of squares. The numerator, I'm going to go 2 times 3 is 6 and 5. So the two numbers are 2 and 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and they add up to 5. Then, when I take out the 5 and put in 2n and 3n, and then I group the first two together, and group the next two together, you have the two factors. So I'm going to come back here and know that one factor is n plus 1, and the other is 2n plus 3. So 2n plus 3, 3 plus 2n are exactly the same. You can add in any order. n plus 1, and 2n take away 3 and 3 take away 2n. They are opposite factors. So this whole answer, look, it's all eliminated. So it's negative 1 divided by 1, so the answer is negative 1. So when everything eliminates, there's still either positive 1 or negative 1 left as the answer, not nothing. 3. Factor. So the common factor would be 6k In the denominator, the common factor would be 9. So obviously the 6's divide out, the k's divide out. These are opposite factors. And what I'm left with is 6 and 9. So that can reduce down to 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3, we got negative 2/3. All right, you know what? This is just like 6 times 63. I'm not going to give you something like that. And the rest and so on. So you can look on the answer key if you want for that, but I would just avoid it. Say, am I going to give you something like 6 times 63 and so on? I don't want you to like spend 20 minutes doing that. So don't do 14. 15. Now we're finding the quotient. We're dividing. So what's the rule to dividing? Is you multiply times the reciprocal of the divisor, or the second fraction. So step 1 is to do the reciprocal and change it to multiplying. Simplify what you can. 7 goes into 14. 3 goes into 18. So we have 12. 2 times 6 is 12. We have 9 and 3. So we have 9 and 3. 6 more on top, right? 12m to 6. In the denominator would be 1, but we don't need it. The 1 in the numerator is needed, not the 1 in the denominator. All right, step 1. We're going to factor as we go along here. So the two factors are negative 7 and positive 4. Here, we're going to do the reciprocal, and again, I'm going to factor. So I'm going to factor out to 2, x minus 7, and then eliminate what you can. Strike it through. So you got x plus 4 on top and 6x on the bottom. All right, a few more. And again, the best is you do the work and then press play. Or if you start to not know the first step, once you know the steps and you can do it, then press pause, you do the work, and then press play and see if it's the same. All right, so I'm going to factor out a 2a. I'm left with a plus 7. 8a squared is just a monomial. I'm going to do the reciprocal. Now what you don't see is there's a 1 in the denominator. Then I'm going to factor out at 10. So the a plus 7s, they eliminate. 2 goes into 8 4 times. A makes the a squared just an a. And what we're left with in the numerator is 1. And then 4 times 10 is 40a. Whoops, there's 40. There's a. 18. Difference of squares. So 1 plus h, 1 subtract h. The denominator, you'd factor out a 2. And then you're left with h squared minus 5h minus 6. Do the reciprocal and factor out the 2. This would be h subtract 6, h plus 1. So h plus 1 and 1 plus h, done. 1 subtract h and h subtract 1 are opposite factors. So I have and then 2 goes into 6 3 times. So I have a negative 3 on top. And I still have a 2. What else didn't get crossed out? H subtract 6. And you have your answer. All right, 2 more. Number 19. At any time you can press pause and then press play to see if you did it correctly. So we're going to factor out a 2. We're going to do the reciprocal. Now, when I factor out a 4 here, I have r squared plus 2r plus 2 plus 1. And that is really just r plus 1, r plus 1. I'm not going to write it as r plus 1 squared. It makes it difficult to know how to eliminate factors. So r plus 1 and r plus 1, r plus 1, r plus 1. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So I got 2 times 3 at 6 and r plus 2, and it's over. All right, one more time, and you did your homework, ready for the quiz. Factor out a 4, and I get 5x subtract 1. change to multiplying and do the reciprocal. Keep that. And now match. So 5x subtract 1 eliminates. 4 makes the 8 a 2. 2 makes the 6 a 3. And the x makes the x squared just an x. So 1 times 3, x times 5. And that's it. You did your homework. All right, Mr. G Math, over and out.